Hello everybody, I'm Lynn. I know some of you may be new over here and may not have seen my face in a while or haven't seen my face at all. That's basically because I tend to enjoy being behind the camera, and Bernice enjoys the camera a little bit more than I do and is better at being in front of a camera than me. So usually she does the video content herself, but today I thought I'd come here to say hello, and it happens to be Friday again, so I'll be doing the Schools and Agents News Bulletin myself. As you may have seen on our social media, we'll be talking about search engine optimization mainly, and what's happening with the state of search in 2023 and possibly taking us to 2024. You may have also seen the Marketing Monday article, which also concerned this topic, so we're going to be doing a bit of a summary of that, but also add a few pointers to keep in mind when you're preparing content for your site and when you're also designing your site. Basically, something that was not mentioned in the Marketing Mondays is the concept of EEAT. I don't know if you're familiar with this abbreviation, with this acronym, but basically what these letters stand for are experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. These are the 4 pillars that you should keep in mind whenever you're putting content up on your website, or also when you are revising content that already exists on your website. It's important to keep in mind that even if your website looks great, even if your content was placed on the site with great intent, with great thought behind it, things change, people change, audiences change, and Google changes, search engines change, and their expectations change. So you should be updating your content every now and then, even if it is evergreen content, even if it is content that's meant to stay there because it makes sense for it to remain there. So try to maybe start by going through content that already exists on your website and ask yourselves, or maybe ask someone who is not so familiar with your business, if the content shows experience, if it makes you come across as the authority in the subject. By authority, what we mean is, or what Google expects, is to be the master of the subject. So technically, it's not asking for much, because if you're the owner or the marketing manager or working for a school, an agency, a service provider in international education, you should have the authority and you should come across as the authority, the expert of the content that you are writing, because who knows the business better than you? So it's not really, in terms of what Google or search engines are expecting, it's not really asking for something that is out of this world, but in reality, it's unfortunately something that a lot of people tend to forget. A lot of business owners, marketing managers, people who work in sales or in marketing, content managers as well, they tend to forget this because it's easy to put content in the way that we know makes sense, but maybe we're not thinking about what our customers are seeing, what our customers want to see, what they are expecting of us. So basically, what Google does is they understand how human beings, because ultimately, as we said in the Marketing Monday article, even if you're working in international education and you have loads of audiences to reach, you have parents, you have students, you have agents, you have service providers, and vice versa, no matter who you are and which business you come from. Ultimately, everyone is a human being, and more or less we all search in the same way. So Google understands what these trends are and then does its updates accordingly. Something that's good for you to know is that even if you put in a lot of effort in your search engine optimization, Google does regular updates in their algorithms, in the way they send their crawlers to sites to pick what's working and what's not. So those updates may also affect your search results. So you may be doing badly one day and then suddenly you're doing really well, Or what usually happens is that you'll be doing really well and then suddenly you start seeing the results go down. That is not because someone in your team, not necessarily someone in your team has done something wrong, but it could also be that Google has done an update recently or is taking out an update. It's in the process, and that is what is affecting the search results. So always check that as well if you see that your results, your search engine optimization results, are going down. So yeah, it's good to keep all of this in mind when you're putting up the content on your site. It's good to always maybe check, especially if you've put up a new page or if you've just launched a new website or if you're just about to rebrand and maybe update your site, to ask someone who is not so familiar with the site and maybe not so familiar with the industry, with the business side of the industry, so a potential student, a potential customer, to see if your site makes sense, to see if the content is engaging. That way, by doing this, you're understanding how another person will perceive your site. It's important and really, really important, no matter how much you love your business and how much you have the best interest in your business, because we know how much you work hard to get your business in front of your audiences and to connect with agents and agents to connect with schools and to bring direct clients onto your site. We know how much work you put into all of this. However, no matter how much you feel that you love the business and you have all of this best interest at heart, it's important to keep in mind that sometimes what we feel is best for our business may not be the best strategy to get your expected results or the results that we all want. We all want to be on page 1 on Google if that is possible. We want to be in front of the biggest audience possible. But we also have to think, rather than what do I feel is best for my business, it's good to ask yourself what is going on out there, what are the trends, how can I make my content better to fit into the EEAT strategy, what can I update on my website. It's good to think about these things because you might see some differences in what I exactly want for my site or for my business and what I should be doing to get in front of more people. Just one small example to start concluding. Potentially, maybe one of the things that we hear a lot of clients talking about is them wanting to put up more content, whether it's on social media or on websites, simply because they don't have the resources in terms of time, in terms of budget, to get new people working on these things. So they start using AI, which is a very, very common trend nowadays. But it doesn't mean that Google appreciates that. So just because you feel that or you want to put up more content on your site because you want your school to be more visible or you want your agency to be more visible, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to work just because you want it to work. Because unfortunately, Google has ways to understand that maybe you're overusing AI tools. We're not saying that you should not use AI tools. They are there to be used. They are great, but you have to be intelligent with the way you're using them. So even when you're using AI tools, look at the content and see if it fits within the EEAT. See if it's too generic. See if it's something that you find everywhere. See if you can give it the character of your school rather than leaving it generic. So that may clash with you wanting to put up more content and investing a little bit more time to, instead of maybe getting 5 pieces of content up in a week, you'll get 3, but you're doing them well and you're meeting the search engine optimization, the search needs that there currently are. So I hope that these tips have helped you. I try to keep it simple just because I know that sometimes when people hear search engine optimization, they start stressing out. As you can see, they're all doable things. They're all things that you can pass on to your team. But feel free to let us know. You have your contact information, our contact information on the site, so feel free to get in touch.